The DecalMaster toolset provides complete support for exporting the decals and trims you've applied to your models into other 3D software. The first step of this process is to create a decal atlas of the decals you've used on a mesh. It is recommended to always save your scene before continuing. Let's get started. Open the Decal Atlas tool. Select New Atlas. It's a good idea to give the atlas a unique name so you can quickly find it later. Start by adding the decals from the scene. You'll notice that the decals are automatically packed into the atlas using a best fit algorithm. Flow decals are repeating textures and so they must span the entire width of the atlas. Automatic packing will always place them at the topmost positions. The atlas resolution will also be automatically determined. This is the internal resolution. For GPU performance, the atlas output resolution, which is the resolution the texture files will be saved at, is always the nearest power of 2. However, you can manually select an output resolution. Padding is required to remove texel bleeding between decals when using filtered texture sampling such as bilinear or bicubic sampling. Only a small number is needed and they should be even numbers. There are a few options when it comes to making a decal atlas. These options all boil down to your choice of shaders employed in your rendering pipeline. I'll explain packing mode first. When combining decals into an atlas, by necessity all decals are assigned a global material that samples from the atlas texture maps. This creates a problem when exporting PBR decals that are used multiple times on a target mesh if those decals match to different target mesh materials. There are two ways to solve this. The first is to insert only unique decals into the atlas, then create a decal material shader that masks per material property. This way you can mask out the effects of the color, roughness, and metalness material properties of the decal while still applying the decal's normal map on the target mesh surface. This is the more flexible solution as it allows you to alter the underlying target mesh material without needing to rebake the decal atlas. However, it requires more complex material shaders that you may have to create if the target software does not provide the functionality by default. The second way to solve this is to insert duplicate decals for each packed material decal pair into the atlas, exporting the decal's material color, roughness, and metallic properties alongside the other texture maps. This method has the benefit of only requiring standard materials and so is simple to set up. In this example, I'll be using the packed mode. The next thing you'll want to do is decide on the decal atlas type. Atlases can contain PBR decals, info decals, or both. The reason behind this is that game engine materials used to render PBR decals can be expensive to compute and it is a waste of processing power to use them only to render color information. With this in mind, you're given the option to create combined or separate decal atlases. In this example, I'm going to create a combined atlas. You're not bound to use the automatic packing as the final result. You can select decals from the list or from the 3D viewport, then scale the selected decal by holding the left mouse button and dragging. If you hold Shift, the aspect ratio will also be retained. There is also the coordinates inputs that can be used to precisely position and scale the decal. You can quickly reset a decal to its original dimensions by clicking on the Reset button. There is also a global reset button to reset all decals in the atlas to their original dimensions. If for any reason you want to remove a decal, you can do so by pressing the bin button. You should prioritize texel density to the decals that appear larger on the target mesh. After you've made your changes, you'll want to repack the atlas. Once you're happy with your atlas, it's time to save. Again, you can choose a resolution that you want to output the atlas at. Once the save is complete, you can take a look in the atlas folder to see the texture files produced by your atlas. It should be noted that you can convert a decal library to a trim sheet library using these textures. All you would have to do is place all the decals in that library into the scene. The final step is to assign your atlas to the decals in the scene. This is done through the export tool. You should check out one of the export tutorial videos for a detailed explanation on how to use and export your atlas into your target software.